Timmy, still 3, because the other apples still exist, Timmy, or you're breaking the space-time continuing, Timmy, you dumb child! This person feels like someone who always tries to create weird gotchas that everyone inherently understands, but it has no bearing on, like, the pragmatic part of the question, and then they think they're much smarter than they are. This is so unbearable. Oh, the correct answer is 3. 1 on the fence and 2 somewhere else. Oh, they are up in my ass. Sorry. If the 2 that flew away are shot by the farmer, then the answer would be 2 dead ones and a live one on the fence. If you have 3 cookies and 1 is eaten by your dog, how many cookies do you have left? 2 cookies in a pile of Ooh, I love math. Please never let this person try to teach anyone anything. Oh my god, what an insufferable human. It is really just a Spanish y'all. No, it is not. It is literally the Spanish form of a plural you. I wish people who clearly don't know anything about it stop blabbing. Do you know what y'all means, right? No, but it's irrelevant to the question, because even if 2 crows flew away, there would still be 3 ones, only that 2 are up my ass! Sorry. Why is the community so divided like this? I will never understand why people are like this. Aren't gay folks supposed to accept everyone? Why are trans being excluded? Very simple. LGB aren't involved with the debate of sexuality. They are fine with the sex they were born with. They wanted their relationships recognized and legalized. That's the difference. Not everyone wants to be involved, and you can't force them. Lemao LGB aren't about sexuality. Lol. Oh, Twitter. You have done it again. Oh no, the thread keeps going. Oh, okay, fine. If they are about sexuality, then they aren't just gay, are they? They would start to fall under the queer line of gender identity. But I sense I'm going to get gaslit anyway, so let's see where this goes. Sexuality is sexual orientation. That's literally the whole of LGB. No, it was about who you loved. Gays, lesbians, or bi don't have an issue being just male or female. It's about who they love. If you start using pronouns, you are now other than gay, bi, or lesbian. If you start using pronouns... I think most of us have pronouns, fam. Are you... Oh my... No. It's like that person who said that Jesus never used pronouns, and then like the literal first sentence is like, "It is I!" Jesus. If you start using pronouns, you are now other than gay, bi, or lesbian. You fall under the QT++. Yes, indeed, if you have any pronoun, you're now queer. Congratulations. Yes, I spend all my time making stupid videos because likes are the most important thing in the world. Or I build houses and have never posted a video on social media. I will be okay when the internet crashes. Thanks for your 2 cents, though. First up, the conjunction for you are is spelled your... Is it though? I just found out why you're in construction. But you used the correct version of you are. But then you're like you're... Oh my god, you can't even be consistent for 2 sentences. What in the actual butt? Secondly, you 100% have anger, disdain for those people because you refer to them as people. No normally respectable human being ever say anything like that about another human being. What are you even on about? God, get your grammar right first, please. Please use tongues to bake pastries. Thanks. I am not saying that spelling is important, but I am saying spelling is important. When you try to be a law-abiding citizen, but then you get arrested for licking all the pastries. The world is difficult sometimes, man. Revised. Additional $200 million to support enrollment growth, teacher recruitment, and childcare access. Enrollment. The government of New Brunswick promoting education and not even knowing how to spell. Yikes. Hi, Blorp. Enrollment is standard in American English, whereas enrollment is standard in British English, which is what typically is used in Canada. But it's... Oh my. Serious. The number of women in Vietnam who dye their hair is alarming. 26 years ago, when I was still living in Shanghai, 1998 was 26 years. Oh my god. That hurt more than anything else, but I think this post is gonna hurt a lot, so let's get into it, shall we? Basically, everybody has black hair unless they're going gray/white. My Vietnamese coworker back in Massachusetts, when he was living in HCMC before moving to America in 1998 at 30 years old, he also said virtually nobody dyes their hair. The only people who dye their hair different than the black are rowdy, unhinged teens who experiment with drugs or sex, are gold diggers, or are prostitutes. Now though, even though the vast majority of men have black hair is considered extremely rare amongst women under the age of 50, with brown or reddish-brown hair being the majority hair color amongst both Chinese and Vietnamese. My sister, 53F, is amongst the only people her age to have not dyed her hair back in China. Where is this post going? This sounds like someone telling me their life story, and it's about hair. During my first trip to Vietnam in 2002 for a school project, virtually no one dyed their hair and everyone has black hair. It is alarming. Okay, why is it alarming? This is already incredibly, long-winded and bullshit. In fact, I visit China every year between 1998 and 2019, in Vietnam in 2002, blah, blah. This summer, every year more and more people dye their hair, blah, blah, blah. When I was in Vietnam, I walked a road moped. You don't have to tell every detail about everything. Oh my god, this is like when Grandpa Simpson's like, oh, back in my day we had onions in our belt. As we all know, hair dye causes a lot of damage to your body, including the fact it kills your brain cells and causes brain damage. Ah, here we go. Now we're getting into the juicy stuff, hell yeah. It leads to cancer, heart disease, and mutations, which could lead your child to have autism and ADHD. You see, if you dye your hair when you're 30, you're gonna randomly develop autism, which, yeah, that's how it works. This sounds like anti-vax, but like with hair dye. And that hair dye smells bad due to the fact there is a lot of ammonia in there. It's more shocking that Chinese and Vietnamese girls have started the hair dyeing trend to look more Western, and due to K-pop indoctrination. Essentially like NK, but the SK version of brainwashing. And this has a catastrophic effect on China and Vietnam, as it not only leads to China's and Vietnamese decline and back into the Middle Ages due to less productivity. Okay, so now we're back in the Middle Ages because everyone has super ADHD because of hair dye. That... Oh my god, man. Vietnam become the next Quincy MA. In fact, every international Asian girl I see in Boston, New York, and Houston have dyed their hair. And I guess they're just normal functioning members of society. No. This is wild. This is like anti-vax, but brought all the way to hair dye. This is bonkers. Oh yeah, also zoom out on the text for a bit. I want people to see how long-winded and crappy this is. It took like 3/3 of this text to even get to the point. Before that, they were just talking about really uninteresting stuff about family members. My aunt, who was 44 back then, dyed their hair, but then she had a sibling that liked eating onions. Anyway, her hair dye... You could just start it with that, I think hair dye causes autism, and we could just have dismissed it right away. That would have been way easier, fam. If we're gonna post a BS opinion, at least do it efficiently so we know to disregard it quickly. Like, God. I just love how he spells genuous as genius. Mentioned a cervix to my 26-year-old boyfriend, and he looked confused. I asked him did he not know what that was, and he looked at me in the eye so confidently and said, yeah, Jesus was nailed to one. That's a pretty wild mental image right there. Thank you, random man, 26-year-old, for painting that mental picture. I will never forget it. Someone born in 2020 will see the year 3000 when they're 80. That is wild. That's pretty wild indeed. Wow. I love this. Really? Hitler was a Marxist. Marx studied Leninism. Lenin studied Stalinism. What is this timeline? Stalinism is communism. The only difference is to get to dole out the money and who has to work for it. It can't work, it never has, and never will. It's a failed economic theory. History proves that. I mean, okay, but I think you also just reversed the timeline. If you're gonna talk about history, at least, put time in the right direction. God. Look at the moon. My husband took this. This is God's creation. There is no way it's 93 million miles away from us. If we can take pictures of this, y'all, think about that. Look at that moon. There's no way this is 93 million miles away. And you know why? Because it's not. And no one claims it is. 93 million miles is the distance to the sun. There is no way it's this far away from us. My nurse last night showed me this tattoo she has in Greek, and I thought it was super dope. I randomly decided to Google it today, and it doesn't mean what she said it means. Oh my god, does she know? She spoke about it so passionately too. I feel bad, I wish I didn't Google it. Hers was spelled apotek, which means pharmacy in Greek. But she says it means I am enough. But that is spelled apket. Anyway, I'll be getting the real meaning tattooed on me. Pharmacy. Imagine if other people did this with like Western culture. You have a tourist coming from Greece going to like Ohio, and they get a tattoo and be like, I want a tattoo in ancient American, and they just tattoo like grocery store, and they come back home and be like, this means freedom fighter. It's a very risky game to get tattoos in languages you don't speak. I'm gonna be honest, it's a very risky game. Ooh, look at this math thing. The equation is 5 plus 1 multiplied by 10. Oh yeah, I guess that, okay, so we have a bunch of stuff equals 30, so that's just divided by 3 obviously, so 1 cup is 10. And then we have 10 plus 2 burgers is 20, so it means that, you know, there's 10 left, 2 burgers, so a burger is 5. Oh, here's where the tricky part comes in. You see, there are multiple fries to, like, fry your brain a little bit. So if a burger is 5, that means we have 4 fries is worth 4, so fry is 1. And then at the bottom, there's a little multiplication sign as well. So this is just a question that seems a little bit tricky. So we have 5 plus 1 times 10, which is 15, if I'm not mistaken, which seems to agree with the caption. Very cool. I'm so glad we could all agree on this. No one could possibly disagree with this basic math. 25, order of operations. I was sorely mistaken. Thank you, Blorp, for proving me sad. It's just a problem being sneaky and trying to catch the person reading it off guard with the one there being 2 fries in one slot, but the other it's only 1. I also thought it was 25 till someone pointed out that there's only 1 fry in that spot at the end and that there is 2 in the other. Yeah, I've seen problems like this before. I think I've even failed a couple in videos because they like hide sneaky things in the images that you don't think about. So okay, maybe my hope is slightly more restored. I am part of the stupid, and that makes it okay.
My daughter literally said the N-word. I'm so proud of her. What was your little honey bun's first word? A slur.
Oh, how adorable. Mine was duck. Literally, though. My first word was duck. So anyway, let's read some of the replies, shall we? Because it surely can't get worse.
The liberals are triggered.
Okay, but how did the baby learn this word to begin with? That's like, that's the question of the day, isn't it?
Stop acting like you're mad because I'm doing this for Twitter revenue, probably $3. You're just mad that I'm not a miserable parent like your mother and father if you had one. You see, unless you teach your children slurs by the age of 1.5, you're a miserable parent. Never take parenting advice from Twitter. Oh my god.
Needs work on that hard R, but she has potential.
We are working on it.
The amount of disservice you're doing to the world with this, including your child. Like, my god, can you imagine, like, the reality check your child is gonna get if you teach them this is okay, and if anyone gets mad at you, you're just owning the libs. And maybe don't teach your kids slurs as their first words. You know, maybe that's just like a wild opinion of mine, but, you know,
Great example of racism at a young age. Thank you. What do you mean, thank you?
Oh wow, what an amazing mother, and I have a few extra passes if she needs one.
But you're not black, are you?
Thank you so much. That's so generous of you.
That is what. Wait a second, I recognize that profile picture. That's the same person. The dude replying that with the passes. It's the same person that was like making a huge deal out of that couple that was assaulted by 7 armed men, and like on the dude for not somehow like winter soldiering down 7 armed men by themselves in the middle of the night. It's the same dude. It's good to see that their opinions regarding subjects seems quite consistent, so to say, which means that they're all trash.
I have said it once and I will say it again.
Who are you and why should anyone listen to it? Anyway,
if you think Jenny Ortega is hot, you weird ass poo and p-wordish, she looks 12.
And here's a picture of her. Well, she's in her 20s to begin with. And who is actually sitting and waiting for your takes? This is not a good take. What the hell? Isn't that a wild expectation, though? Because you basically said that if she dates anyone, you know, even someone her own age, right, they're gonna be inherently a P-word because you think that she looks young. That is such a bad thing to put out there for so many reasons. Oh my god. Ah, Twitter. What a beautiful place, because it gives that contrast that makes the rest of your life just look amazing in comparison, even if it is a rainy day. Because on Twitter, it rains poo.
I am coming out as a hashtag AI artist. This is why AI art is better than traditional art. Hashtag break the pencil. Traditional art represents old institutions. It's transphobic.
Why is drawing inherently transphobic? That is insane.
It is ableist.
Why?
Misogynistic. Sometimes
Not. There's a fly in my face. Jeez.
sometimes non-vegan. What? Elitist and classist, but AI art is inclusive, accessible, more creative, more productive, faster, animal rights for some reason, and it's anarchist.
Yeah, I mean, in that way, I suppose so, because it literally breaks rules and steals artwork that it uses for training data, which of course you could argue is way more elitist and classist, because it gives people that are only there to, like, make money off of other people's work, able to make more money. They're just stealing art that is actually made, using it for training data to mass generate stuff. It's kind of the opposite, isn't it? Like, this hurts small artists more than anything. What are you doing? AI art is also more creative. You're not more creative for writing in an AI prompt versus actually learning how to make a piece of art or coming up with characters yourself and all the process that comes. Give me a break. Give me a break. CDC mRNA jabs have caused 14,000% increase in turbo cancer. Apparently this is fact-checked because they added a little check mark there. The CDC has warned that COVID-19 vaccines have caused at least 14,000% increase in turbo cancer. There has been a minimum increase of 6,000% in cancer cases. Oh my god. It goes without saying the CDC said nothing. 14,000% turbo cancer. It's just a little bit more turbo than regular cancer, I guess. For the record, monkeys typing... Is this like Dark Souls music? Okay, that's pretty nice. Anyway, for the record, monkeys typing randomly for infinity will never type out the complete works of Shakespeare word for word, okay? It doesn't matter if they have an infinite amount of time, because there's an infinite amount of things they can type that aren't the complete works of Shakespeare. Okay, so there are two answers to this, right? The first one is the short version, which is no, you're wrong. The second one is no, you're wrong, but I will explain it in excruciating detail. So let's get into it, shall we? So this is a thing people typically say because it's quite fascinating. Deals with very large numbers, but no large number that you can ever fathom is larger than infinity. That's the whole point. So say, for example, you only wanted to write one specific letter in a 26-letter alphabet. That means there's 1 out of 26 to write the specific letter that you wanted if you're just mashing your keyboard randomly. If you wanted to write 2 specific letters, let's say, for example, 2 A's in a row, you will have 26 multiplied by 26, or 26 to the power of 2, if you will, to get 2 letters exactly the way you wanted them. You can expand this, for example, 10 letters to get them all the way you want, like A. You would have 26 to the power of 10, which is already a humongously large number, which all these numbers are going to be, but the whole point is that you cannot arrange a finite alphabet in an infinite number of ways. You will see repetition after a certain amount of typing and keyboard smashing, if you will. Or, for example, in the case of Shakespeare's complete works, the odds of typing the whole works by just keyboard mashing would be 26 to the power of 3,695,990. Which is an unfathomably large number, but it is smaller than infinity. You know what the funny thing is? I was actually planning to bring out my whiteboard and calculate this entire thing by hand, but when I googled how many letters are in the complete works of Shakespeare, someone had actually done this exact calculation 7 years ago at r/statistics. So let's dig into it, shall we? Given infinite time, a monkey could randomly type out the complete works of Shakespeare. I am going to assume our monkey types 100 characters a minute. There are 3,995,990 characters in Shakespeare's complete works, and I am going to account for 34 possible characters being our alphabet, periods, commas, colons, semicolons, question marks, exclamation points, apostrophes, and spaces. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. Ooh, that's actually smart. That's a little bit more complex than I was going. Hell yeah, kudos. To type this many characters, it would take our monkey about 26 days. 1 divided by 34, which is the size of the alphabet, to the power of the total amount of letters in Shakespeare's complete works is equal to 1.727 times 10 to the power of minus 5660331. 1 divided by this humongous number is the chance of our monkey typing all 3,695,990 characters in the right order. This would result in 5.789 times 10 to the power of 5660330 attempts to achieve success. So 26 days, which is the total days it would take to type this many letters, times the probability of typing all the right letters is equal to this many days. Oh my lord. So that's 10 to the power of 5.6 million. So that is a number with 5.6 million zeros in it. Wait, how many letters are in Lord of the Rings? The Lord of the Rings trilogy, not including The Hobbit, is made out of 2.2 million letters. Okay, so if we took the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy twice and then filled the entire books with zeros instead of all the actual letters, that would be the size of this number. Holy shit. And then we take this number, divided by 365 for getting it into years, and here is the amount of years, which is still an incomprehensibly large number. The universe is 13 billion years old. To put that into perspective, if I divide this number by 13 billion, we are still left with a lot of years. Is that accurate? Did they mean to do the power too? I think they messed up a symbol there. To put that in perspective, this power would have 5.6 million digits. It would take 1,800 pages at 3,000 characters a page just to write this number down. Yeah, or 2 Lord of the Rings trilogies. Hell yeah. For a monkey to randomly type the complete works of Shakespeare, it would take 4 times 10 to the power of 5.6 million years. Or the age of our universe multiplied by a number so big, it would take nearly 2,000 pages to write it down. So, anyway, back to the stupid TikTok. You know, the whole point is that a monkey wouldn't be able to do this, like, realistically, right? But this is the quirks with statistics and infinity. No matter how large the number, it is still smaller than infinity. It sounds like a funny haha. You have variations of this, you know, you have a billion monkeys in the warehouse writing all the time and eventually to write the works of Shakespeare. So it's very funny. Haha math. Very good. TikTok. Silly.
Today I'm gonna always have a calculator in your pocket and just teach it.
Okay. To be fair though, it is kind of funny because the saying didn't age. But on the other hand, the amount of people I have seen completely botching basic math stuff, even with a calculator, sort of proves that this isn't perhaps the takeaway. You know, a calculator is a tool, but if you don't understand how math works, you're not going to be able to do that much with a tool anyway. Like that guy on Twitter, you know, a few posts ago, that was like, if you take 50 plus 50, it's 100. But if you take 50 plus 50 times 2, it's 150. Why is it not 200? You know, it doesn't matter that I have a calculator because they're so dense when it comes to these problems that it doesn't matter we have a tool. It would be like saying we don't need to learn how to build houses because, duh, we already have hammers. You know, it's like... There's a bit more to it, fam. Tools only get you that far. WhatsApp increases group chat size limit to 256 people. It is not clear why WhatsApp settled on such an oddly specific number. Peach's programming says yikes. If you think 256 is an oddly specific number, you probably shouldn't be writing tech articles. Next article, how random was the Nintendo 64? Why not 63? It's not random, it's called 64 because the logos have 64 faces. Duh. Developing. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has been criticized by his fans for letting his daughter put a wig on him and cover him in makeup. Many fans are saying they shouldn't be posted, and strange concerns are raised about The Rock's masculine influence. I think that if your masculinity is so fragile and tiny that it evaporates from playing with your daughters, then it wasn't that much masculinity there to begin with. I'm just gonna be honest, fam. Dear God.
Alert! This is the final warning. Turn notifications on. Do not look at the eclipse. Something big is coming.
Bookmarking this for when nothing happens. So, you're gonna blow up? It matters not what someone is born, but what they grow to be. What a wonderful, wholesome quote. Let's see who wrote it. J.K. Rowling. Oh my God, this aged like soggy milk.
I cannot believe that Theodore is 8 months old today. Happy birthday, little teddy bear, yay!
This isn't how birthdays work. Happy 8th month birthday? What? Isn't birthday supposed to, like, literally represent the day you were born or something? Or am I just mistaken? This is my trans mask brother, and transphobe will think he's a girl. Too bad for them, because he will always be a man. Look at this picture of the trans mask brother. The total isn't recently retired YouTuber Matt Pat.
No, he is not. That is clearly a woman. Tell your sister she can be brainwashed by the American school system and liberal propaganda instead of supporting her obvious fantasies.
Yeah, Matt Pat, take that. We can always tell.
This is my trans mask brother, and transphobes think he's a girl. Too bad for them, because he will always be a man.
And there's a picture of Marky Plower without a shirt.
Chromosomes and DNA don't lie. You and it/he/she loser. Losers, because we can always tell.
You will never be a woman. Yeah, take that, Markiplier, because we can always tell.
Can you imagine an 18-year-old with a 14-year-old? Does it sound right?
Well, no, it does not.
If no, okay, then be consistent about it. A 24-year-old and a 20-year-old, 38-year-old and 34-year-old.
Wait, no, that's not the takeaway from this. A 55 and a 61-year-old. Oh, look at that gross couple. They're 55 and 51. That's basically grooming.
And 70 and 66-year-old together, all disgusting. Then you can stay a 70-year-old and 20-year-old together is disgusting, unless you're just arbitrarily setting a limit. It's all freaking stupid.
I can't tell if this person is just incredibly chronically online, or if they're just too young to have been through any of these life stages yet. Like, this is either a raging 13-year-old or a troll or someone who's incredibly chronically online. There is this magical sparkling concept of like different years develops you at different pace. For example, there's a huge difference between a 14-year-old and an 18-year-old. Anyone that has been 14 and 18-year-old can testify to that fact. You know, it's pretty well established. But the difference between like a 38-year-old and a 34-year-old is probably not that much. You have a couple years more life experience, but in terms of like maturity, emotionalness, stage of life, independence, etc., it's probably gonna be pretty similar, you know? So different years matters more or less in different stages of life. This isn't the takeaway. Who wrote this? This is insane. Well, laddies, lasses, and lasses, I do hope you enjoy this very educational piece of content as much as I enjoyed having you here, you wonderful, beautiful, dandy, finalicious being. And I will see you again in the very near future. Take care. Mwah. And scare a bunch of Karens. Oh, look how spooky you are. Oh, you're amazing. Off you go. Good evening, laddies, lasses, and lazzles. Welcome to the click. You smell absolutely astounding today. And don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. Spooky plushies for Halloween? Wow, keep an eye out for that one. But until then, I have another succulent treat for you while waiting for trick or treating. That is right. Today we're looking at r/boomers being fools, which is essentially like an internet synonym for just Karen subreddits, I suppose, which is a very entertaining thing to scroll through. The world has truly lost its mind, and we are the only sane ones left. Isn't that amazing? Join my sane cult. Well, sane is a very strong word. Join my sane cult today. Enjoy. Mwah. Boomers selling their homes for $2 million after buying them in 1969 for 7 raspberries. I'm gonna be honest though, if I had that opportunity to get a house, I would probably be dancing like this too. Man, they got to sink down though. They got some moves though, not gonna lie. Never underestimate some good old boomer riz. Oh my god, that's something I never thought I would say in my life. That's a brand new sentence. I would probably dance like this too if I could buy a house for 7 raspberries. Have you seen the housing prices today? You're lucky to buy a shoebox with 10 roommates. Boomer coworker makes sexist comment, then gets butthurt at my reply. The water bottle that changed my gender. Ooh, is that like included in the product? Let's dig into this, shall we? So, I walk into the break room at work today to fill up my water bottle. Well, actually my partner's water bottle, because I'm trying to stay hydrated, and I just want to chill for my break. While I'm filling the bottle, this old coworker, like 60 to 70 years old, who I barely even know, strolls up and says, "Nice bottle, girl," then snorts at his own lame joke. Like, "Nice bottle, girl." I have hearing issues, so I didn't even catch what he said at first. But this guy decides to tap me on the shoulder with his grubby little pee-pee skinner and repeat his dusty attempt at humor. I am confused, so I look at him and ask, "What are you talking about?" He laughs again and says, "Your bottle. That's a girl's bottle." I ask, "What makes it a girl's bottle?" And as if it's the most obvious thing in the world, he replies, "Well, it's pink." So, still playing dumb, I say, "Well, it's actually pink and blue, but why does it being pink make it a girl's bottle?" By now, his laughing has stopped, and he's looking at me like I'm clueless. He says, well, pink is a girl color."
I hit him back with, well, that's totally subjective. Sure, it's got pink on it, but it also has blue. Does that cancel out the pink? Also, I'm a man and I own the bottle, so wouldn't that make it a man's bottle? He's all pissy now and snaps.
It's still a girl's bottle.
So I reply, that's strange because I own the bottle and use he, him pronouns. Of course, that sets him off. He starts ranting.
Of course, you and your generation wants to rewrite science. No site to use those. You're a guy.
Your generation wants to rewrite science. Wait a second. Is he talking about pink water bottles or is he talking about pronouns? I choose to believe that that the science he's talking about is pink plastic bottles being girls.
Oh, that's amazing. I just respond calmly. Then why are you calling me a girl? Seems like you're the one trying to put a spin on things. Ooh, he didn't expect being owned by facts and logic today. Before he can even get another word in, I screw the cap back on the bottle, turn, and walk out. He's left standing there, red-faced and muttering to himself, while I am already out of the door laughing. When in doubt, buzzword it out. I love how it's turning the own logic back at me.
You're the ones wanting to make everything about gender and all that stuff. But if you have a pink bottle, then you're a girl.
I mean, I understand, okay, for like the sake of argument, I understand that he meant it more like a sexist insult rather than actually changing someone's gender or whatever, but it's still really funny because it left him very flabbergasted, which goes to show that these people are kind of clueless after all.
Look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country. And it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again.
Is this AI?
She's destroying this country, and if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success,
I don't think it is.
will end up being Venezuela on steroids.
This is real.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pet.
Oh my god. I should do a bingo card on this. I should do a bingo on this where it's like, oh my god, American politician versus fake tweets versus AI, and you have to guess whether something is a real quote or if it's made up. That would be so funny. That would be so funny because I legitimately cannot tell anymore. This is like watching a bad reality show.